I now give the floor to the representative of the Institute of the Blessed Virgin Mary, Loreto Generalate.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to speak at this commission. I am the youth representative for the Institute of the Blessed Virgin Mary, Loreto. I read this statement on behalf of my organisation and 5 other NGOs with ECOSOC consultative status. We are advocating for increasing engagement of girls and young women in the issue of homelessness and adequate housing. I represent thousands of girls and young women from these organisations, some of whom have experienced homelessness, as well as girls and young women advocating for social protection globally. Inadequate policies and legislation are creating and exacerbating inequalities, including in issues of housing and homelessness. Along with the commodification of housing, growing populations, environmental catastrophes and civil unrest, homelessness is a global problem and exists in many forms. As members of the human community, we believe that every person deserves to be protected through policies and legislation that enable them to access their basic human rights, which include the values that respect human dignity, health, shelter and compassion. We see that girls are not recognised as a unique group facing unique challenges in these discussions. The Secretary-General's report on homelessness acknowledges the youth, a particularly vulnerable group in the issue of homelessness, as well as referencing the specific challenges experienced by women. However, as an organisation with more than 40 years of experience in providing alternate shelter and access to education for homeless girls in almost all continents, we see that current policy and legislation does not adequately support young women and girls and does not recognise the unique challenges they experience as different to those faced by adult women and boys. These challenges include, but are not limited to, experiencing female puberty and menstruation, particularly in accessing adequate hygiene facilities, sanitary products, as well as sexual and reproductive support and education. Greater vulnerability of being trafficked and of experiencing sexual and physical abuse. For these girls, protection often comes at a price. Perpetuation of gender inequality in society and in the workforce, making it harder for young women and girls to escape the cycle of homelessness. We need strengthened policy and legislation to protect and empower young women and girls who are homeless, vulnerable to becoming homeless or have experienced homelessness. The world is home to 1.5 billion women and girls under the age of 25. We are an essential part of the human community. Personally, I have not experienced homelessness, but I am here as a young woman to request more sincere and effective engagement of girls and young women in the discussion of homelessness and adequate housing. They must be active members of decision-making processes at all levels, have as much of an opportunity to affect change, specifically for policy and legislation relating to their own unique experience of homelessness. Thank you.